Previously, Yi Feng and Black Cloud, Shi Feng and Blackie's character went back to the mines for the second part of the quest Forge Path. The quest requirement this time was to kill the kobold leader, which was a level 5 chieftain boss. The kobold leader has 2000 HP, which regenerates 2% of max HP every second. And while these conditions were already tough enough, the system also put a time limit of 1 hour for this quest. Seeing the silver-white kobold leader towering in front of them, Blackie was hesitating, saying that not mentioning the HP and armor of the boss, that huge axe alone can kill him in an instant. Yi Feng was also in a tight spot right now. Accepting a hidden quest was good and all, but once you fail the quest, heavy consequences will be put on him and the quest will disappear for him permanently. Yi Feng was very knowledgeable of what he can and can't do at this point. He fully well knew that him right now wouldn't be able to defeat the kobold leader. Seeing that he doesn't have any other options right now but to borrow the power of the item he set aside before, he quickly reached out inside his inventory to take out that item. He then pulled out a purple one-handed sword from the inside. Even though he already resolved to borrow its power, he was still hesitant in his decision. Before he regressed, he knew of someone who wielded the same kind of weapon and painted the battlefield with blood by killing thousands of guild warriors. This feat made the user very famous, and in the end, he created the war god empire. But not all ends in good, as someone, with the same kind of weapon, was devoured by the weapon and became its slave. Yi Feng did not want to do it, but to defeat the kobold leader, he has to make the difficult choice. Yi Feng held the one-handed sword and a system notification popped up, asking Yi Feng if he wishes to bind the weapon. Yes, it was the magic weapon that he set aside for the time being, as it was a double-edged sword and he hasn't even started his plan yet, but right now, he doesn't have much choice. Yi Feng gritted his teeth and steeled his resolve, thinking back at the people that held a magic weapon before and became powerful. He chose to bind the magic weapon, the abyssal blade, to his character. How can he, a regressor, be defeated by players who wielded a magic weapon? If they can do it before, then he, as a regressor, can too. When the system confirmed that Yi Feng accepted the binding process commenced. The system warned Yi Feng that once abyssal blade was bound, he has to bear all possible consequences as well as the backlashes. Yi Feng was then wrapped with the aura of the abyssal blade, which turned into a black dragon. And once the binding was done, his level dropped to level 0. When Blackie saw Yi Feng's level dropping back to 0, he was frightened. How could someone who just stood there lose their level in one go? Before, Yi Feng was level 3 and now, it looks like he restarted from the very beginning. He was already stressed that they have to deal with a level 5 chieftain with their levels 2 and 3, yet now, Yi Feng's level went back to 0. This doesn't concern Yi Feng though, as he reassured Blackie that his current state right now was better than before. The only thing that dropped was his level, and his stats were retained, some were even buffed after binding the abyssal blade. After the binding, Yi Feng inspected the magic weapon whose details were hidden before the binding. The panel showed Yi Feng the details about the abyssal blade with its stats and effects. Abyssal blade, magic weapon, single hand sword with a level requirement of 0. As for the stats, it has 24 attack power, additional 10 points on all attributes, an additional 3 points on speed, can ignore 5 levels of monster level suppression, has a 15% chance of causing 2 times damage, has a 10% chance of causing curse effect which lowers the monster's attributes by 30% that can last up to 20 seconds. If the wielder belongs to any swordsman job, it will increase every skill level a user currently has by 2, and for each level up, the user will gain 2 more additional free attribute points. It also has 3 embedded skills which were Phantom Kill, Abyssal Bind, Hydra Slash, or in the novel it was called the 9 Dragons Slash. Maybe they don't like the names because it was too long, but it was cooler that way. I mean, Hydra Slash doesn't have that much impact than 9 Dragons Sword Slash. Anyways, while Yi Feng was marveling at the effects of a magic weapon, the kobold leader suddenly summoned a bunch of normal kobolds. Seeing that the boss was starting its attack, Yi Feng instructed Blackie to go hide somewhere safe and leave the rest, to which Blackie strongly agreed. Yi Feng then held the pitch black sword in front of him facing the approaching kobolds, and with a quick slash, most of the summoned kobolds turned into minced meat. As Yi Feng was preoccupied with the summoned kobolds, the kobold leader made a move and tried to step on Yi Feng. This sneak attack was easily dodged by him, but the kobold leader was a tad bit faster than him as it executed a diagonal slash with its axe which cut Yi Feng in half. This scene horrified Blackie, who was watching the fight from afar. How could Yi Feng be so easily done in with the boss like that? Well, not entirely true, as what the kobold leader cleaved wasn't Yi Feng himself, but his clone, as Yi Feng activated one of the Abyssal Blade's embedded skills, Phantom Kill. Phantom Kill was a cloning skill that granted the clone 50% of the user's stats. Additionally, the user can swap places with the clone within the 30-second duration of the skill, which has a cooldown of 5 minutes. What happened was that Yi Feng created a clone from afar, and when he was about to be struck by the kobold's axe, he swapped with the clone, and the clone was cleaved in half. The kobold leader felt something was amiss and looked behind it, but it was too late, as Yi Feng executed Chasing Wind Sword, hitting the kobold leader in the face, and dealing 105 damage. He then ruthlessly hacked at the kobold leader, dealing damages ranging from 24 to 36 with a critical of 63. Yi Feng was not done yet, as he used his Thundering Flash, creating 3 sword slashes, which were once blue but now it was deep blood red because of the Abyssal Blade's effect, assaulting the kobold leader with insane damages that took a huge chunk of its HP. But as the kobold leader's HP hit critical level, it entered the enraged state, transforming from a snow white to a blood red wolf. The enraged state also increased its power by 100%. Seeing the notification, Yi Feng wasn't concerned, since the speed stayed the same, he can just dodge the attack. But as the kobold leader attacked, Yi Feng was shocked. This was also coupled with another notification, as if to mock Yi Feng, that the speed of the boss also increased by 100%. This put Yi Feng in a predicament. But Blackie saw that Yi Feng was in a tight spot right now, so he dished out a dark arrow to contribute to the damage, since Yi Feng already took much of the aggro of the boss with his insane damage. Blackie's dark arrow dealt a measly 30 damage to the kobold leader, which was equivalent to Yi Feng's normal attacks. But as Blackie was lamenting his non-existent damage, the kobold king suddenly looked at him with its glaring red eyes. Surprisingly, the kobold leader's aggro shifted towards Blackie with that meager damage, which shocked Blackie. This caught off guard Blackie, as he failed to run away and just accepted his fate, right there and then. But before the kobold leader's axe hit Blackie, pitch black chains suddenly bounded the enraged kobold. This is yet another embedded skill of Abyssal Blade, Abyssal Bind. This skill does as it was named, it binds enemies and prevents them from moving for 3 seconds while reducing their defense by 100%. This skill has a cooldown of 1 minute. Although short, 3 seconds was enough time to save Blackie and shift the aggro back to Yi Feng. Yi Feng attacked the kobold leader once more, and he was successful in regaining its aggro, giving Blackie enough time to distance himself. But suddenly, the kobold leader summoned another wave of mobs. This time, it summoned a bunch of silver-white wolves. Seeing that the boss was just buying itself time, as the quest has a time limit, Yi Feng decided to use the third embedded skill of Abyssal Blade. Though, with his current mind power, he has no clue how long he can control 9 Abyssal Blades. Mind power, also called psychic power, was what I talked about before in the first video. This is the measurement of the player's mental capacity. This is also consumed when they concentrated too much, and by exhausting the psychic power, the player can be forcibly booted out from the game to avoid damaging their own body in the real world. This is also crucial for skills where you have to concentrate to properly control the skill, just like the 9 Dragons Slash, but Yi Feng doesn't have much choice. He activated the skill, and 9 Abyssal Swords manifested around Yi Feng. Each of these Phantom Swords was capable of dealing up to 30% damage of the original Abyssal Sword. This skill has a duration of 20 seconds with a cooldown of 5 minutes. Yi Feng then controlled the skill to attack the summoned wolves and wipe them out. Finished with the wolves, Yi Feng turned his attention to the boss and attacked it with 9 Phantom Swords. He hacked and hacked the boss until its HP has gone down a lot. And right when Yi Feng was about to deal the final blow, his mental power ran out and the swords vanished, coupled with a bunch of system alerts that warning Yi Feng about his psychic power running low, and once it reaches 0, he will be forced to log out and be put to sleep to avoid permanent damages in real life. As his psychic power was low, Yi Feng froze in front of the boss. Blackie saw this and was concerned about Yi Feng. Blackie told Yi Feng to stop pushing himself, as they only have a minute for the quest. The quest was about to fail, and if they die here, their loss will be unimaginable. But Yi Feng thought differently. How can he give up? He was thrown away after dragging the dying Shadow Workshop to the peak of success, wasting his youth and years. As this was his second shot at life to make it all about himself, how could he give up this now? His psychic was only running low. Running low means not 0, so he can still push for one more struggle. Yi Feng then forced himself to stand and activated Phantom Kill. The both of them then activated gravity liberation and dashed toward the kobold leader in a blink of an eye. The kobold leader did not have time to react and was stabbed in 2 eyes. The both of them continued to chip away at the boss' remaining HP. And for the final attack, Yi Feng made his phantom throw him toward the boss coupled with his skill, Wind Blade. This attack of Yi Feng pierced through the kobold leader, taking away its remaining HP, and for confirmation, the system notified Yi Feng of its death. The system also awarded Yi Feng with 2,350 express as he killed an elite level 5 boss. He was also notified about the completion of his timed quest and was rewarded a drop quality increase of 200% as he was the first player to kill a chieftain class monster. Finally, he was awarded with Star Moon Kingdom's prestige points of 10. Seeing that the kobold leader was now defeated, Yi Feng sighed in relief. If the fight dragged on much more than it should be, then his psychic power will run out and he will be forced to log out. Blackie, who saw Yi Feng's outburst, was similarly amazed and shocked. Though he was depressed because, just like what happened with the cunning fox before, he did nothing to help Yi Feng. Yi Feng didn't mind about something trivial as they were sworn brothers and handed Blackie the dropped rare skill book for Cursemancers. Although Blackie was excited before about the rare skill book that Yi Feng got from Flaming Tiger, now he just wants to be of help to Yi Feng, hence he asked Yi Feng for pointers on how to play as a Cursemancer. Seeing his friend change in attitude, Yi Feng accepted and started with the stat point allocation. Although Yi Feng doesn't have that much in-depth understanding of Cursemancers, back before he regressed, he knew and heard of experts playing as Cursemancers. Blackie answered Yi Feng confidently that Cursemancers should focus on intelligence as it could give them ability power and mana points. But Yi Feng doesn't agree with that mindset. Yi Feng pointed out what happened earlier with the kobold boss. If Yi Feng did not save Blackie back there, he would be back in the Redleaf Town spawn area by now. Although Cursemancers were a damage over time or dot type of mage, it doesn't mean one should focus on intelligence. Yi Feng instructed Blackie to put a part of his free stat points in agility as it does not increase his movement speed, it also hastens his casting speed, especially when he was playing Cursemancers where each spell comes with a long casting time. That was how Cursemancers differ from mages. Cursemancers rely on curses with long casting time to deal damage, while mages usually have shorter casting time with their burst damage spells. After giving out pointers to Blackie, Yi Feng distributed the loot accordingly. The skill book that dropped was called Evil Whip. It was a common skill exclusively for Cursemancers. It uses 5 thorns to bind a target in a fixed area. If the target attempts to exit the area of effect, the thorns will break, dealing a base damage of 20 plus 30% spell damage per thorn. The skill has a casting speed of 3 seconds and a cooldown of 20 seconds. As Blackie read the description, he was very astonished by the effects. He even compared it to Yi Feng's Abyssal Bind, but Yi Feng pointed out the Evil Whip has 3 seconds of casting time, so he must predict the enemy's next move. After they finished discussing, they both wore their new pieces of equipment, getting more fresh looking than ever before. They then returned to Master Jack and reported the quest completion. After Jack confirmed their 2-part quest, the system notified Yi Feng of the completion of the hidden quest Road of Forging, previously Forge Path. As for the rewards, after completing the hidden quest, Yi Feng became a basic forging apprentice with a forging talent, Forging Genius. The system also rewarded Yi Feng with 10 pieces of 100 refinement steel. As Blackie, being the same as before, was amazed by the name Forging Genius. This title has an effect that when one successfully forges an item, they have a chance of gaining 2 proficiency points. That sounded little, but proficiency points don't grow on trees and one needs 1,000 of those to advance to the next level of forging. Finished discussing the forging talent, Yi Feng and Blackie were about to leave when Master Jack noticed the pitch black sword on Yi Feng's waist. Jack was taken aback as he called out to Yi Feng and Blackie. As Jack was also a master forger, he noticed that the sword was a magic weapon and was imbued with a vile curse, and according to him, the backlash was already starting to occur. As a master himself, Jack showed great interest in the magic weapon and asked Yi Feng if he could see it for himself. Yi Feng did not hesitate and showed the sword to Master Jack. Jack examined the sword and according to him, this was indeed a famous sword forged by the renowned craftsman named Ulysses. It was made from the fang of the Black Dragon King and ranks at the 31st of the 36 swords in God's domain. The fang greatly strengthened the sword, providing incredible power to it. However, the black dragon has imbued a vile curse on the sword, hence every once in a while a backlash will occur, and if the wielder wasn't able to suppress it, they will be consumed by the curse and have their attributes get permanently halved. And as he looked at Yi Feng, it already started. Yi Feng asked if Master Jack could get rid of the curse, but Jack said that he could only weaken it, not remove it. And to weaken it, they have to look for something with equal or greater power. Master Jack then said that if they could find the lucky stone, which was something that was very hard to find, he could use that to weaken the curse. But to find one, you will need a stroke of heaven-defying luck. Master Jack made sound like an item from an epic or legend, but Yi Feng casually asked Blackie to hand over the stone. Blackie was confused, but Yi Feng told him to hand over the star stone that he found earlier when Flaming Tiger's crew got wiped by the kobolds. Still confused, as star crystal was nothing like a lucky stone that Master Jack described, Blackie pulled out the crystal from his inventory and handed it to the dumbfounded Jack. Jack received the stone and proceeded to weaken the curse within the abyssal blade. Jack hammered and heated the sword and the crystal, and after half an hour, the sword was ready. Yi Feng immediately inspected the weapon, and the once deep purple panel of abyssal blade was now light purple, indicating that the curse has been successfully weakened by Master Jack. Yi Feng did not linger any longer and bid Master Jack farewell. As they were on their way, a message panel suddenly popped up on Yi Feng. The message was from Lonely Snow, the guy he met at the Redleaf Town Hall. Previously, Yi Feng gave him the deal of 20 copper for a grinding spot. The scriptwriter did not name him back there, as the translation might have changed his name. As for the deal also, based on the novel, at this time when he contacted Yi Feng, he sent the 10 coppers as per their agreement if Yi Feng's words were true about the grinding spot. He then invited Yi Feng to come and join them in raiding the dungeon called Deathly Forest. Yi Feng agreed, as he was planning to raid the dungeon anyways. Joining someone will spare him the effort of looking for someone to fill up his team. Though, Yi Feng demanded that he will have priority over all swordsmen and cursemancer equipment that will drop. Lonely Snow did not reply for a while, but then agreed to Yi Feng's conditions. With the approval of the other party, Yi Feng told Blackie that they will be dungeon diving next. Blackie was hesitating in going with unfamiliar people, but Yi Feng was adamant, as dungeons were different compared to the field. The more people they have with them, the more chances that they will be able to conquer the dungeon. Not long, Yi Feng and Blackie arrived at the entrance of the dungeon. They met Lonely Snow, who was now level 2, and he guided the both of them towards his friends. When they finally meet with the other party members, they were greeted with an uninterested look. They hurried them to party up, and when Yi Feng and Blackie entered the party, Expansive Skynet was shocked at Yi Feng's level 1. Overreacher even grumbled that they waited that long just for a level 1 expert that Lonely Snow introduced. As Yi Feng was a level 1 noob in their eyes, Expansive Skynet belittled Yi Feng, as he has the balls to demand priority over equipment with that level. Every one of Lonely Snow's friends was belittling Yi Feng, and even though he has the temperament of an expert, those kinds of trash talks were unbearable as he left the party with Blackie. Lonely Snow was really not happy with how his friends treated Yi Feng and Blackie, and he only got to this level thanks to Yi Feng's advice, hence he left the party as well and caught up to Yi Feng to join them. Expansive Skynet did not bother to stop Lonely Snow because, as for him, he will definitely regret following that level 1 noob over them. Yi Feng on the other hand accepted Lonely Snow, and Blackie warmly welcomed Lonely Snow and assured him that he won't regret following Yi Feng. As they were now lacking in party members, Yi Feng tasked Blackie to get his bronze rank staff and activate the special effects. Blackie gladly did it, and when Lonely Snow saw the staff, his jaw dropped. Items with ranks bronze and above have special effects that can be turned on and off, depending on the wielder. This goes without saying that Blackie's staff has one, and in the whole of Redleaf Town, only a handful of expert players have bronze equipment. Blackie then loudly announced that they got an expert that was willing to carry them inside the dungeon. Who was the expert? They don't know, but looking at Blackie's staff they will assume that the expert was him. Expansive Skynet heard this and arrogantly commented that this Yi Feng guy was very arrogant, claiming to be an expert when he was just level 1. But the warrior noticed what Blackie was holding and was shocked. The mage even said that he remembered that the cursemancer was already level 3 when they partied. Expansive Skynet was shocked at the bronze equipment Blackie was holding and reprimanded the other two for why they didn't say anything when they knew that the cursemancer was a level 3 player when they partied. Skynet and Overreacher then got to an agreement that they can just bribe the cursemancer with the mage's equipment that will drop inside the dungeon. Their mage companion heard this and was alarmed. He was nervously watching his two friends contacting Blackie with excitement, but when Blackie declined their offer rudely, their mage companion was very happy. Back to Yi Feng and Blackie. Blackie's advertisement was very effective. However, when the players wanting to join them knew that one of their members was a level 1 noob, they all backed out. Lonely Snow was sighing in defeat as he thought that forming a party at this rate was impossible. Yi Feng wasn't bothered in the slightest though and told them to take it slow. As they were still looking for members, Lonely Snow suddenly noticed that the crowd around them suddenly vanished. They noticed that all of the players were running in a direction with love and admiration sparkling in their eyes. Blackie also saw it and he can't believe his eyes. In the middle of the crowd of fanatic players, 3 beautiful ladies were approaching the dungeon entrance. These dogs in heat were following their snow goddess Gentle Snow, Zhao Yueru, and Xiao Yuer. Seeing the beauty of Gentle Snow, even Blackie turned into a fanatic, but he was immediately controlled by Yi Feng as his actions were unsightly. As Gentle Snow and her friends only have 3 members, they will need 3 more players to complete their roster. Zhao Yueru was very strict, saying that these people were just smitten fools and none of them were good players. Even Skynet and his crew shoot their shot, but it backfired as Zhao Yueru was not buying their crappy advertisement. Well, just like a magic weapon, beauty can be both blessing and a curse. Seeing Zhao Yueru's fiery temperament, even Blackie was scared. Yi Feng on the other hand was acting like he was used to it. Before he regressed, Zhao Yueru was known as the Flame Witch because of his fiery temper. Back then, when she was harassed by the guild master of the guild's Central Plains clash, she destroyed the guild of 10,000 members, and the guild master was killed by her over and over until he dropped to level 0. Gentle Snow, who was keeping silent all this time, saw Yi Feng from afar, who did not bother to look at her. She thought that Yi Feng was kind of unusual. Gentle Snow did not mean it romantically, she just noticed that Yi Feng's temperament was kind of unusual among the players present. Zhao Yueru misunderstood and thought that Yi Feng was just acting and not caring about them to get their attention, because the most unusual for those who get attention whenever they go was to meet someone who doesn't care about them. But Gentle Snow did not listen to Zhao Yueru and made her way to Yi Feng's party. When they met face to face, Gentle Snow did not even get to talk as Zhao Yueru talked down at Yi Feng for daring to enter the deathly forest while being level 1. Yi Feng did not bother explaining to Zhao Yueru and asked Gentle Snow to party with them. I got to say, the scriptwriter was very frustrated at this part, as they did not just change this part, they overhauled it differently from the novel. Anyhow, that was his problem. Gentle Snow was positive that Yi Feng has some talent, as the Cursemancer was already level 3 and by the looks of his weapon, it wasn't something ordinary. Yueru pointed out that the weapon was like a piece of junk, but Snow thought differently. In her logic, for the game to make it look so ugly, it has to be something special. Yueru then resorted to questioning Yi Feng on how did he know about the strategy for clearing the Deathly Forest, as the server has just gone online not too long ago and the dungeon has never been cleared by anyone before. Faced with these questions, Yi Feng pulled his beta tester friend and blamed it all on it. But Snow was confused, as she did not hear anything about leaked information from a beta tester ever since the server went live. Yueru was not having it and was not buying Yi Feng's bull. Yi Feng then explained the horror of the Deathly Forest. He said that the most dangerous part of this dungeon was the maze-like pathways. Getting lost means dying without even knowing why, and even if you look for the exit, there wasn't one. And for the last resort, to escape the horror of the dungeon, one will just kill themselves and respawn outside. Hearing Yi Feng's description, all the players heard it was horrified. But Snow found it interesting. Hearing the most detailed description of the dungeon from a level 1 player was the most unexpected for her. She was very positive that Yi Feng was the key to clearing this dungeon, hence she decided to form a party with Yi Feng and enter the dungeon. 3 system panels then appeared in front of Yi Feng stating that the level 2 Berserker, Gentle Snow, level 2 Cleric, Xiao Yuer, and level 2 Mage, Zhao Yueru has joined his party. Seeing this happen in front of them, the rest of the players were shocked at this event. Blackie and Lonely Snow were very happy that Yi Feng managed to convince Gentle Snow to party with them. Yi Feng just laughed it off and told Blackie to not embarrass them later. After every one of them finished their preparations, they all went inside the dungeon. But unknown to them, as Yi Feng was the party leader, he chose the hardest difficulty of the dungeon: Hell Mode. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next video.